Before long, we'll announce the 2025 Mississippi Tree Farmer of the Year. But first, one more chance to meet the reigning winner. He's a Mississippi State grad with a long personal history in the timber business. And trust me, we could talk about him for hours, but see for yourself. Meet David Hall.
It's truly an honor. Very excited to be selected and put into a real elite group of folks that have been honored over the years.
If you know David Hall, and he is well known across the state and the nation for that matter, you're not surprised by his comment. He is, after all, one of the most humble and hardworking men in the profession. Despite a management record and a body of experience, education, and professional knowledge that put him at the very top. An MBA graduate from Mississippi State University, he's the president of Hall Tree Incorporated in Meridian. It owns and manages about 60,000 acres. He's a third-generation forester, a member of just about every forestry group imaginable, and he's a former president of the MFA, the Mississippi Forestry Association. So to say that he truly knows the timber industry and is perhaps the perfect choice for the 2024 Mississippi Tree Farmer of the Year is not only accurate, it's practically an understatement. The man who nominated him should know.
How he does everything he does, it just amazes me. When you think about how many people in this world have a tremendous effect in so many areas in Mississippi, making everybody's life so much better, David comes to the top of the list, and there's not many people that can do all the things he's done in the state of Mississippi and all the great things. So, I mean, I'm proud that we got to nominate him, and he won. This is a great honor for him, and I'm glad he won. He definitely deserves it.
He's one of those members that you wish you could replicate and have several of them, because what he does for our association and what he does for the industry is very vital, and we need more landowners like him that are willing to put in the time and the effort and are willing to educate others and bring people in to appreciate the beauty of his property.
David's corporation has a relationship with Scotch Plywood Company that goes back many decades. In fact, these days, at any given time, Scotch has 3 or 4 crews actively working David's land, carefully managing a prescribed burn program on 3,000 to 5,000 acres a year, conducting thinnings and clear cuts, and obviously more. Scotch is based in Fulton, Alabama, but Forester Bracy Clark works out of the Waynesboro, Mississippi office. Like most, he's routinely impressed with David.
I think a lot of it is he kind of dives into it every day. So like I said, he serves on the boards, and so he is around the inner workings of the forestry industry in Mississippi. Our Scotch employees, we're on the ground, managing the land, dealing with loggers, doing the burning and all that. But there's a whole other side to it that we don't see, and that's in the board meetings, in Congress, and stuff like that David knows a lot about. I just think all of his experience on both sides, on the ground, in the office, in the boardrooms, kind of gives him overall just a great knowledge about the business.
Scotch manages a 43-year rotation, longer than the typical tree farm. But there's no question the teamwork between David and Bracy is centered around making the property far more enjoyable and producing revenue.
His overall management goal, even if he was doing something different, right? I mean, even if he was just doing a regular, shorter 25 to 30-year-old sawtimber rotation, his goal just meets the four aspects of tree farm, or the 4 pillars of tree farm, which is woods, wildlife, water, quality, and recreation. I mean, that's how he sees his management, and I think that's what it takes.
There's also no question that a great deal of thought goes into the management of Hall Tree's land. It always has, says David. In other words, it's all about being one thing, intentional.
you have to be very intentional and think well ahead of time of 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Your trees we're planting now, we're not going to harvest until they're probably 45 years old. We'll have a lot of management activities along the way, just like a row crop farmer would with fertilizing or spraying invasive species or whatever. We've got a lot of the same things we're going to do along the way, just on a much longer time frame.
David led us on a tour of his property. Here, a 25-year-old loblolly pine plantation planted actually before the property was purchased. It's burned frequently, at least every other year. The vegetation is relatively low, but it's high-quality forage for deer, turkey, and quail. David says this kind of management has been beneficial for timber growth, producing good diameter and height growth on all the trees. Here, an example of contrast. On one side of the road, a 4-year-old pine plantation in an area that had been high-graded by the previous owner. David says he let the area sit for 18 years until the timber was big enough to harvest before conversion. Across the road, a 14-year-old pine plantation that's just been first thinned, just after a burn. Blue paint indicates trees left behind for better stalking afterward. In this area, a recent harvest in a mixed stand of pine and hardwood about 40 years old that had also been high-graded. It finally grew big enough for harvest and conversion. Soon, David says, an aerial application of herbicide will kill anything that's sprouted back. That, followed by a burn, will be followed by further plantings of seedlings. Adjacent to it, a large pipeline used for seasonal wildlife food plots. He says it's a popular place for hunters and other recreational users. And here, an interesting mix of food plots, a variety for wildlife, a mixture of soybeans and cowpeas. On the perimeter, all the way around the field, another mixture that's graze tolerant and high in protein. David says the area has had a big impact on the quality and health of the animals that graze here. In this area, a footbridge over a creek built originally to access a food plot for hunting and improved over the years to make it safer and provide better access to a hiking trail. Scout troops occasionally use the trail for badge requirements, and David sometimes makes maps for their navigation. And finally, an area that was originally 80 acres of cattle pasture. The pond, first used by cattle for cooling, was widened and deepened. Now it's large enough for a sizable fish population. Around the pond, cypress trees were planted, along with a mixture of different oak trees to add some visual variety. David's always looking for ways to improve the land and be responsible from an environmental perspective.
I think a lot of it's just the emotional attachment to the land, growing up, being outdoors, hunting, fishing, and just wanted to be outdoors with my family. You build that passion inside you, and always looking for more, looking for what else can I do to make the property better, what can we do to improve it for timber, for wildlife, for this family recreation. So it's just this becomes a passion growing up around it.
As he looks out over a peaceful 100-acre lake, it's obvious David Hall is lifted by its beauty. As he anticipates the sunset that will come later, what does he think?
Blessed, very happy. This is one of my favorite places in the world to watch the sunset. We got a great view here over the lake. Just truly honored and blessed to be able to have this property, manage it, and have the family that allows me to take some latitude in the ways we do some of our management here. Just a beautiful place, and really enjoy being here and having my family here as well.
Congratulations once again to David Hall of Meridian, Mississippi, the 2024 Tree Farmer of the Year.